I believe in this thing called life moments. These are moments that are truly life-changing. Everybody experiences them over and over again in your life, not just once. The question is, do we recognize those moments? And do we take full advantage of those moments? And often these moments have to do with individuals that you meet and how they can help you become a better version of yourself, how they can help you succeed in a way that you would have never thought possible. So one of the big moments that we had at Autoweb was that one day we had a call at the office that we never really needed to go to, but we had an answering machine. We listened to the answering machine, we had a call, and somebody had left a message and said that, I'm from Motorola and I want to invest in your company. We're thinking, what's the catch? Now, keep in mind, my brother and I, we had never heard the term venture capitalist. So we thought that there's got to be a catch. Why would anybody want to give us any money for a piece of what we had built? Because what we had built, we thought was worthless. And we thought it was fun, but we didn't think it's a real business that people want to own a piece of it. So we responded, and a guy with a thick German accent came to visit us, and Walter. And my brother and I, we somehow managed to get a hold of suit and ties, and we put them on, and we attended this meeting with Walter. During the meeting we had with Walter, often Walter would stop us and he would take his calls in German, and we had no idea what he was telling people. But he basically told us that they represented Motorola, which it turned out not exactly. They had sold a business to Motorola. Motorola no longer wanted that business, and they were going to shut down that business. It had $150,000 in cash left in its account, and they had told these people, you can invest this money wherever you want, because we're going to shut down the business anyways, or you can distribute the cash. And they had decided they wanted to invest this money in somebody, in something. So they agreed to invest $100,000 of the $150,000 in us. And we went for it. $100,000, we agreed at an $850,000 valuation. We spent $30,000 on legal fees to receive $100,000 in investment at $850,000 valuation. We closed the deal. A month later, our competitor down south, Autoweb, raised $10 million at a $100 million valuation. So first of all, we thought that, oh my God, this is actually something that can become real. I mean, you couldn't even count to 100 million. And we thought, of course, we got a pretty bad deal. But we were never really that good at raising money at high valuations, even though I thought we were doing a really good job. But partly, you got to give credit to investors who were investing in us. Two brothers who knew nothing about building a business in the US, spoke the language with thick accent, and we did not have MBAs, had no experience really at building a business, running a business in the US. It's something that can only happen in the US, that people would be willing to invest in that kind of a company, in entrepreneurs at the stage that we were at back then. Over the next few years, we raised money from a few different VCs. Some of the biggest names in the venture capitalist world, including Technology Crossover Ventures, or TCV, and we brought some of the biggest names on our board of directors. And one of those moments that shaped Autoweb was my experience with State Farm Insurance. For over a year, I kept on basically bugging State Farm, believing that we were helping so many people buy cars on the internet by then. And they would submit a request, they would send this request to car dealerships, and car dealerships would reach out to try to sell them a car, and they would compete for that business. I thought, wouldn't be amazing if consumers would find out how much it'll cost to insure a vehicle before they buy that vehicle. And I was trying to sell that concept to State Farm Insurance, that you become the provider of that service and you end up getting all that business. So I would take a red eye to Chicago, then I would take a prop plane to Bloomington, Illinois, in the middle of the farms in Illinois where State Farm was located. I would meet with these people over and over again. Every month I would make this trip. And finally they got tired of seeing me, frankly. But they were also impressed that I was willing to go there so often to see them and try to convince them. They finally agreed to sign up. And they asked me, so what's the deal? I said, well, the deal is that every person who submits a lead, a request to buy a car, we will send a copy of that to you, so you could also provide them with a quote on insurance. And we charge you $15 for that. And frankly, I came up with $15 because I wanted to leave room for negotiation with State Farm, because I had heard that they have people responsible for negotiating on behalf of the management team. But it turned out I was a better negotiator. And I think that's something that quite a few Middle Easterns are really good at. And I met with the team, I negotiated with them. It turned out that we all agreed that 15 was the right price. But I was still willing to give them a discount, but only if they would pay for 1 year cash up front. And that was $2.5 million. They agreed to pay $2.5 million cash up front. And for us, that was again game-changing, because we would have otherwise given up a lot of ownership raising that kind of money from VCs, and we were able to get $2.5 million from State Farm in return for service that we were going to offer them. We ended up doing one more deal with State Farm because they had a division called State Farm Bank who wanted to provide loans for cars. They paid us $1 million cash up front to become the provider of basically quotes, information on their loans to people who were submitting requests to buy cars through Autoweb. A month later, I got a call from State Farm that they were interested to meet with us and buy Autoweb. So here I am. Now, by then, I had become the CEO of Autoweb. My brother had decided that he really wanted to focus on technology. That was his core competency. And I was very much an outside person. So as a CEO, I was supposed to meet with the people who were going to come and make an offer to buy the company. I hired the best person in the market at the time, the best banker, for help us negotiate a transaction, George Boutros from Credit Suisse First Boston. And it was a big meeting. We had Credit Suisse First Boston in the room. We had the celebrity VC who was the biggest money behind our company. We had JP Morgan. We had the CMO of State Farm Insurance, the CEO of the State Farm Bank. And here I am, a 20-some-year-old guy who speaks English with an accent, had come to the country as a refugee not too long ago, and presenting Autoweb. They ended up making an offer to buy the company for $250 million. And we turned down their offer. Our minimum was $500 million. And we thought that was a reasonable price given the IPOs that were happening in the market at the time and how close we were to an IPO. In fact, we filed for an IPO just a month later. And we ended up taking the company public in March of 1999 for a valuation of $1.2 billion. So in March of 1999, we thought we made the right decision, selling the company $250 million. And of course, State Farm must have felt that they gave up on an amazing opportunity, which frankly, I still believe they gave up on an amazing opportunity, because for State Farm, even if they could increase their number of insurers from, I think, about 20% of the market, the drivers in the US that they had, to 21 or 22%, that's monumental. That's worth billions to them. And Autoweb could have done that for them. But regardless, we felt we had made the right decision. I'm sure they felt they had made the wrong decision.